It is my favorite time of the week, Wednesday, 11 o'clock Pacific time, where we do roadblock removal for speakers and coaches, specifically speakers and coaches that love to speak and coach, but hate to sell. We have a great idea for you today coming on, and a lot of them haven't thought about it, but it's something that you should think about. And I've got the greatest person to help you think about it. So if you want to come in here and ask questions today, we're talking sponsorships. Join Ray Live. It'll be roll down there for a little bit, but come on in, join Ray Live. You can come back in, sit in the green room right there. We got a hot tub back there, nibbling on the Dove bars, ready to go. But let's bring on our very special guest, the king of sponsorship, Claude Haggarty. Welcome.
Thank you, Ray. I appreciate you having me here today.
Oh, man, it's just a pleasure to have you here and talk about sponsorships. There's so many people out there that underutilize these things and don't even know what to do or how to get started. And so why don't you just talk a little bit about what they are, how you do them, how you know that you need one, and we'll see who comes in and joins us and asks questions.
You know, Ray, sponsorships gives an entertainer, author, expert out in the marketplace some tremendous advantages. And these advantages are realized the minute you shake hands with a potential sponsor partner. Number one, the minute you shake hands with a potential sponsor partner, you now have immediate credibility in that community where you might not have had it on your own because you're brought to town or brought to this event by so-and-so company. That gives you status instantly. Number two, the minute we shake hands with a potential sponsor partner, they have a Rolodex of friends that know them, like them, and trust them that might come in very handy for you doing events. Your sponsor partner might say, do you need a venue? Well, I'll just make a call and I'll just talk to my friend over at the auditorium and we'll just make that happen. Or I can get you on the evening news tomorrow, or I can get you on the front page of the paper through the people they know, like, and trust, that know, like, and trust them. The third big advantage is you have immediate cash. You and I could decide right now to do a show on November 10th in Columbus, Ohio. We could get off the call and I could 5 minutes later have someone in Columbus, Ohio wanting to partner with us send money to me within minutes. Even though we haven't done the event, we just kind of thought of it. So those three things give a speaker some tremendous advantages.
So let's join Claude and I in Columbus, Ohio on November 10th.
Yeah.
And if you're a sponsor in Columbus, Ohio, we need to know who you are. Let me ask you this. So because I can hear the voices in some of the people say, well, I'll do this when I get big enough to do that. How big do you have to be to get sponsorships? Here's a little tip. This little side conversation, not a tip. People don't realize how easy it is to get in the paper, get on TV, and get these things out there because there's slow news days everywhere and people need something to talk about. That's how I started out getting on my very first newspaper article. I asked, and the guy said, oh, that sounds great. Let's do it. So how big do you have to be? What do you have to do? Where do you have to go?
Ray, let's talk about something that happens to many speakers, authors, entertainers. Many times when we are competing for gigs, we find out that a company or a fair, an exhibition of some sort, an event is happening, and they're looking for entertainment or they're looking for a speaker. So we as speakers, authors, experts, we're pretty savvy. We contact the organization and we ask two simple questions. What are you looking for? And what's your budget? So they say, hey, I'm looking for a keynote on Friday. I'm looking for someone to do a workshop on Saturday, and then maybe another keynote on Saturday evening. Our budget's $4,000. So all the speakers send in their proposals just under that magic number. $3,999, $3,950, Most wouldn't have the cojones to say, I know your budget's $4,000 or $6,000, but I want 10 because I'm worth it, even though that's probably not a bad strategy. So we send our proposals in, and one or two are selected, and the rest, sorry, not this time around. So I always send in two proposals, side by each. Proposal number one, This is exactly what you're asking for. I can do the keynote Friday, the keynote Saturday, the workshop Saturday afternoon, $4,000. But before you decide on this, or my offer, or any other offer on the table, let me ask a couple quick questions. What if I could do a publicity stunt the week before the event? Something newsworthy. What if I could go to 4 or 5 local businesses or companies, do a little couple tricks at lunch hour, and invite them back to the event to help you increase your attendance? What if I could do a grand finale? What if I could do an extra event? What if I could do 2 or 3 things over and above what your budget would allow? And what if I didn't charge you for any of these extras? I just charged you the $4,000 for your show. All these extras, I just got it sponsored. You couldn't turn that down because what I'm offering is so valuable. I would go to fairs and festivals and exhibitions. I would do a publicity stunt the week before. I would do a big grand finale. I would go to 5 or 10 local elementary schools throughout the week for free, do a little inspirational program, invite all those children and their parents back to the event. And I would generate $2,500 to $5,000 in sponsors every time I walked on stage, over and above what my client would pay me. And that's like $2,500 to $5,000 every time you walked on stage, over and above what your clients will pay you. I end up doing about $8 million in sponsorships to offset my performances. I landed sponsors in probably 10,000 different cities. Local businesses that wanted to partner with me. One day I was at an event trying to get hired for a big exhibition. There was a board of directors, about 20 of them. I presented my opportunity. They voted 20 to defeat and 0 to accept because they said they can't afford you. I said, go get sponsors. They said, well, we've already tried that. We've approached every single business in town. Everybody said no, or those who wanted to donate, donated, but everybody's been approached. So I left that meeting. I go to the parking lot. I don't even get out of my car. I look across the street, and there's a little business over there. I walk across the street, and he gives me $2,000. I walk back to the meeting. I'm like, Detective Columbo, excuse me, pardon me, like one more thing. They're looking at you like, we already dismissed you. I'm like, I was here 15 minutes ago. You told me there was no sponsors, yet I walk right across the street and here's $2,000. One of the members stood up and said, I don't know how you made that happen. We talked to him last week and he gave us $50. See, I said to him, you didn't approach them the way I did now, did you? You approached them to see if they wanted to sponsor the event. I approached them to see, would you be interested in having a discussion to discuss a possibility on how you might profit and how I might profit by working together to help the fair? They're like, love to chat about that. See, one way you're asking something for nothing, a donation. And rather than doing that, the secret is to ask, would you be open to having a conversation to discuss how we can mutually profit by helping each other?
I think that's demonstrating a key principle that a lot of solopreneurs don't really understand, that their job is not to sell what they do, it's to remove the roadblocks that get in the way of working together. And if we work more on removing those roadblocks versus selling what you do, then you create partnerships and connections and friendships. And these are things that people, think about your friends. They'll give you the shirt off their back for you to do. Money is nothing, right? And so that's how you create these things. You create these different relationships. One of the things I always talk about is we try to create this aura of business around us. And what that does is it shuts down business from communicating with us, because we talk to business people differently than we talk to our friends, yet nobody does business unless they're friends with somebody. So it's about creating that friendship. And that's kind of part of what you're doing right there. It's just fantastic.
Ray, businesses will only sponsor a speaker, author, expert if you can check off three check boxes. If you can check off these 3 boxes, you have a good chance of getting a sponsor. This business has to know you, like you, and trust you. If this business does not know you, like you, and trust you, the odds of getting any significant amounts of money would be pretty slim because they don't know you, like you, and trust you. 90% of those striking out of sponsorships are approaching businesses where they don't know them, like them, and trust them. There is no relationship. They're just like, hi, I'm doing this, send me money. Many of these businesses will tell you, like I have one client that's a business. Last year, they had 21,000 proposals of folks asking for a sponsorship, 21,000 requests. If you open all those proposals, those are pretty much all the same. They're all the same templates off the internet, also gained from folks probably not doing a whole lot of sponsors either. So if businesses will only sponsor you if they know you, like you, and trust you, why not begin your first few sponsors with businesses that already know you, like you, and trust you? So if you begin your initial search with businesses that already know you, like you, and trust you, you've already moved one of the biggest hurdles of getting sponsors.
Fastest way to get business is people who've done business with you before.
Realtors, mortgage agents, financial planners, anybody looking into lead generation. I was able to get 1,000 realtors to sponsor me at $2,000 each. That was $2 million right there.
That's scary to think that you talk to 2,000 realtors, because that scares me.
But I started off with my local realtor in my hometown that I knew, liked, and trust. We did an event for a local nonprofit group where the realtor was able to get 2 to 10 times in value what they helped us to put on this event, who recommended me to another agent in nearby city, who recommended me to another, who recommended me to another, who recommended me to another. And each year, I would partner with 100 or 150 realtors every year to do 100 different events in 100 different cities. And over the years, I had over 1,000 agents partner with me in 1,000 different communities to raise funds and awareness for a local nonprofit group. Here's the thing. Being sponsored gives you the ultimate freedom because we get to pick and choose where we work, how we work, when we work, and who we work with, because we're pretty much self-funded. So I've decided that if I was going to land my own sponsors to help pay for my own services, I'd rather spend my time serving nonprofit groups who are praying for miracles opposed to going to some big corporate gig where they already have millions and I'm going to go out and raise sponsorship to pay for my own show for $1 million company. It doesn't quite sit well with me. I would do it, but I'd rather support nonprofit groups. And probably 90% of our events are in conjunction with nonprofit groups. And, you were talking about starting your speaking profession where you may not have a whole lot of confidence and a whole lot of credibility, people a little nervous about getting started. Why not go down to speak with a local nonprofit group to see how you could serve them using your expertise? Nonprofit groups are praying for miracles. They're looking for opportunity for funds and awareness. Many times they only have a skeleton crew trying to serve hundreds or even thousands. They don't, for them to do an event, it takes a lot of time for them. Whereas we're already in the event business. Why not partner with them? We already have the show, the seminar, whatever they need. But these nonprofit groups, they have a lot of followers. They have thousands of followers who want to support that cause, but they just don't want to shell money out for nothing either. It'd be nice to get something of value. So these nonprofit groups are an amazing way to fill your calendar with high paying gigs, and local businesses will help you to help these nonprofit groups.
So go ahead.
Yeah. If you, in your hometown, if you were doing something to support veterans, support hungry children, support the homeless, the battered, any of those groups, I always worked with food banks. Any one of my events, you get a major discount on any one of my events if you bring a food item for the local food bank. I work with service clubs, Kiwanis, Optimus, Rotary, these types of groups. Habitat for Humanity, United Way, anything to do with veterans or Legion halls or veterans halls. And they have facilities too. They have the facilities. Many of them have stages, big dance floors. They only have a handful of members, but if we can do something to bring awareness to the first responders or to veterans or the firefighters or any of these great causes, local businesses will partner with you to make it happen.
So if we were going to give somebody out there the idea of how to start,
okay,
the first few steps involved in getting this off the ground and getting sponsors themselves, what would you say?
With me, I did about 150 major events a year. So when I was touring, I would go out to 21 cities in 21 days. And every day I would set up a venue, I would set up a nonprofit group, and I would land 2,500 to 5,000 in sponsors on that day for an event 21 days later. So I'd go out for 21 days doing all my own events work. And then I would come home, grab my tractor trailer, 12 Siberian Tigers, 16 staff, and I would go out and do those 21 events. Okay. Now, the first thing I would do is reach out to the local food bank. I would say, hey, my name's Ray, looking at doing some events throughout the year, and I'm going to discount my admission for those who bring a food item. And my question to you is, if I brought you 1 or 1,000 cans of food, would you be able to put it to good use? And they say, damn right, they could put that to good use. And they tell me a little bit about their struggles and how many people are feeding. And there's more people hungry now since COVID than ever before. So I would get them on board. I would probably go out to something like the Veteran Hall, something like that, and say, hey, I'd like to put on an event. What if we work on a 50-50 ticket split?
What if let's kind of scale it down a little bit, because you've got not every travels with tigers.
Yeah.
And let's say it's a solopreneur that is establishing their expertise and starting out small. They're getting some here, some there, and they want to move forward, and they want to use this sponsorship to help them move forward and help their cause. Let's scale it down and talk about it.
Sure. Probably one of the first things I might do is reach out to somebody like the local Rotary Club. Rotary is always looking for speakers, always. Okay. And they want you to speak for 20 minutes or so on any given topic. They have about 10-minute questions, and they call it a day. And you could talk about your trip to France. You could talk about how to walk your dog. You could talk about sponsorships and raising money and awareness for nonprofit groups. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. And they're pretty open to having just about any speaker there. So I would go to the Rotary. I explained a little bit about my own self. I grew up in Fort Foster home. I started my life. Members of my community helped me find my way. And here I am, an entertainer or a speaker, author, expert looking to do some good. So I would talk a little bit about my career and what I've done, and that I'm looking here to partner with a local nonprofit group to raise funds and awareness for them. And at the end of my seminar, the Rotary would say, hey, you should work with us. I'm like, what a great idea. Work with the Rotary Club. Maybe we'll do something, and let's set an event 6 weeks down the road, and it could be a 50-50 ticket split. Easy.
And one of the things that people don't realize, and that you mentioned right there, that's such a core principle in doing this, is there are thousands of speaking opportunities every day in this country, in every country. And the piece that people don't get is, what is it that you're making their life better and easier by coming toward them and doing for them? Rotary clubs, every city has like 10 of them. Any city of any size has at least 10 of them. And every week they have a meeting, and every week they have a speaker. And if you went in there and said, I am an expert on X, and it doesn't necessarily, like I have a client, she is a senior travel expert. And she goes to Rotary clubs, and a lot of Rotary people are senior people who are retired, or they just are giving back to the community. And she is an expert on how to get good things done when you travel. And she goes in there for 20 minutes, and they go, oh my God, this was wonderful. And she didn't even realize that she had this in her bag of tricks. So you'll discover about yourself, but go to it. That's what people don't get about sales. It's service, not sales. If you do what you do and make their life better and easier, it's selfish if you don't share it. And so by doing these things, you're actually helping out nonprofits. And the other thing that I think people don't get is when they hear the word nonprofit, that doesn't mean for everybody involved with that with that program. I've seen the Little Sisters of the Poor cut a check for $11,000. So there is money to be working with nonprofits. There's also helping out the community by helping the nonprofit because of what they have to do. So you're pointing out so many great things here, Claude, and I know you got more to add. So I could see you itching to go with that.
The thing is this, Ray, these nonprofit groups, I mean, first of all, with Rotary, most of the Rotary Club is business owners.
Mm-hmm.
So when we are looking for sponsors like a realtor, mortgage agent, financial planners, roofing companies, car lots, they're all in Rotary.
Yeah.
So when I speak at Rotary and I mentioned that we'd like to maybe partner with them and do an event that maybe will benefit the local school somehow, maybe it'll benefit the Rotary, maybe benefit the food bank, maybe we could bring some veterans in, have them sit in at no charge as part of the Rotary experience. And I let them know that I will be approaching 3 or 4 local businesses like a realtor, mortgage agent, financial planner, these types of businesses to partner with me. And of course, if one of your members happen to be in these categories that I normally work with, of course, we would give them the first opportunity. If they wanted to participate to support their own club, say yes. And if they prefer not to, I'd approach someone else in the community. It's no big deal. Well, there's no way that a realtor in that club is going to let you bring in a competitor realtor to help promote their own club. They're like, you're looking for a realtor, I'm the guy. And they come on board pretty easily, sometimes within 15 minutes after our presentation, where they're saying, we would love to work with you to promote my services to benefit my own club. Because many times at the Rotary, they don't really go there for self-promotion. They go to there to serve, and it's kind of looked out upon to really promote yourself during the meetings, and everybody knows what you do and all that, but they don't go there selling cars at the Rotary meetings either. But at the same token, to have them partner on an event that was going to support the food bank, local schools, the local hospital, and the Rotary, and a couple other different groups, by all means, they would love to work with you that way. And I've probably generated a couple $1 million in sponsors just by speaking at Rotary and having their members the first dibs. So,
and it's the people that look at it wrong, because they'll go and I don't want to go down there and talk to this nonprofit and speak for free. There's nothing in it for me. Well, the business isn't done at that speech. The business is done after the speech, where you get into their community. Even a pure speaking standpoint, when you go in and speak to a Kiwanis Club, a Rotary, a Lions Club, and the whole animal circuit, as people will call it, you are exposed to so many different business owners and leaders in the community. And these are people that take charge. And I remember the very first time I ever spoke at a Kiwanis Club, I didn't have any offer for them or anything like that. But I know that every speaker comes in there, they try and get money out of the Rotary. But I had a little CD, and that shows you how old it was. I had a CD, and I said, now I know that every time that somebody speaks at the Kiwanis Club, they ask you for money at the end, and I don't want to disappoint you. So I offered them to buy my CD, but I offered to give back half of it to the Rotary Club. And so I learned from that. I go, oh my God, if you play their game and you work to make them better, they'll turn around and make you better. And it's amazing how that works.
We've done some really interesting partnerships with Rotary, for example, where they were partnered with local high school, where they are trying to set up a junior Rotary club. I think they call them Interact clubs, or there's different names in different cities, but it's like a junior Rotary club, and they can initiate this as a club within the high school itself. And so I've had times where I remember one time I went to Toronto, about an hour away. There was a Rotary club in a high school about 3 blocks from each other, and they never partnered together in the last 47 years. They've never done anything together.
Yeah.
So I drive 3 hours. I introduce them 3 blocks away. I bring them together to create an event. And we did it. We went to the elementary schools at no charge. And then we did a big show at the high school in the evening, open to the community. Had about 1,000 people show up, buy tickets. We donated money back to the Rotary, and the Rotary took their percentage of the profits, and they set up a a scholarship at the high school where they give away bursaries for those graduating, going into college and university and that. And a week later, the high school decided to move forward and have the junior Rotary Club in their school to groom young ladies and young men to eventually become Rotarians and great-minded citizens. And they start them in grade 9 to learn about Rotary and how Rotary works and the good of Rotary and all of that. And I make an amazing fee for doing my little 90-minute program.
And
Right?
you created a team of future Rotarians for them, so a total win-win. Hey, we got to wrap it up here, Claude. But if somebody needs to get a hold of you to talk to about this, and you can kind of guide them down the road and show them what you do, how would they get in touch with you?
You can go to claudehaggerty@gmail.com as my email address. But I have a 1-hour seminar that I did a few months back where it kind of lays out the 5 steps of getting sponsors. Number 1, it shows you how to identify that fresh fruit. 2, how to build a little credibility before you contact someone. How to do the invite, how to create an irresistible offer, how to create a little bit of urgency. And if anyone would like to check that out at no charge, you can go to claudehaggerty.com/free. You can put in the coupon code CH free. It's all on that page, but it'll give you free access to a 1-hour seminar. You can go to claudehaggerty.com/free. You'll be able to access a 1-hour workshop at no charge on the 5 key steps of landing sponsors. That's it.
Right, claudehaggerty.com/free. And that's where you can pick that up. Claude, it's been a pleasure having you on here and learning more about sponsorships. And you make it sound so easy and so free that people should be doing this right and left. And I think you're doing a great thing spreading that around the world.
You know, I was able to raise millions of dollars for nonprofit groups. I turned 65 years old in the end of the month. And before I leave this planet Earth, hopefully no time soon, I want to share this with many other experts as I can. Everywhere I go, in any city, I see people lined up on 2 sides of the streets. On one side of the street, I see authors, experts, speakers dying, praying for gigs and opportunity to serve. On the other side of the street, I see hundreds and thousands of nonprofit groups on their knees praying for a miracle, for opportunity. You all need to partner together.
Miracle on, miracle off, right there. I like that.
Create events where everybody wins, and the missing key is sponsorships. So, Ray, I appreciate you having me here today for sure to share.
That is fantastic. Next week, we will not be live, but you're going to have a great video of we're going to talk speaking and how to get rid of that fear. So it's going to be fantastic. I will see you next week. Thanks, everybody.